Well, now that we've spent the first 2 episodes talking about dealing with external change, how not to get angry, why getting angry doesn't work. Well, why getting angry doesn't work is because it stops you from thinking productively and creatively. And it stops you from saying, wait a minute, maybe there's something better that can happen as a result of this change that's being imposed on me. So these are really important things. But here's the thing that I still struggle with. And I think I'm like most of you. I struggle with communication. Communication is where it's at. We can be on different sides of an argument, of an idea. I mean, we see this in politics all the time, but we see this in other things too. We see this when kids are gay or transgender. It tears parents apart. We see, discussions over what to eat. We on different sides of the fence regarding medical treatment. So there are a lot of really important things that we have differences of opinions on. But we have to be able to communicate. That's the whole thing. And as much as I talk about this in my mediation divorce practice, yes, I'm a divorce mediator. And as much as I talk about, we all talk about communication, all mediators talk about the importance of communication in mediation. Regardless of what the mediation is about, it just so happens that divorce mediation is like so incredibly hard because you're dissolving a relationship, which is hard enough emotionally. And then you've got to talk about money. And then you've got to worry about living on your own if you have not been the income earning person. And then if you have minor children, you have to still be in relationship, right? Well, this is kind of like politics. Like this is like the biggest discussion right now. Discussing politics, discussing all the elements that go into who are you going to vote for. And dealing with the misrepresentation that goes along with it. And then dealing with, how many people really research stuff? How many people know their history? How many people know how to listen to somebody, listen to the words they're really using, look at their behavior, of course, look at their record, and decide, and especially if you're a person that's not committed to one party or another, you get to be flexible. I do think it's better not to belong to a political party because then you can be more objective, hopefully. But everything comes down to communication. This is where I'm going with this. And when we talk about change, if we could change our communication so that we don't argue, we aren't offensive, and if we could change our communication so that people could really understand us, understand our fear, understand what's important to us, understand, how we want to live our lives. If we could just change our communication so that we don't argue, we simply listen. Okay, so here's where I failed the other day. I failed because I was talking to somebody who provides a service to me. I never talk politics with my clients, and I really try not to talk politics with anybody who isn't a friend or anybody who I don't feel is in the middle and has the ability to look at both sides of a discussion, of an issue. I fail sometimes because I get react when somebody says something that I either am pretty sure I know not to be true, and I have fact checked, or I have lived through something. I tend not to want to do what you're supposed to do. Ask the why questions. If we could just train ourselves to ask the why questions, that's a big change. So somebody says, oh, I like candidate X, and you think candidate X is like the worst candidate known to mankind for whatever reason. Instead of arguing back, why can't we, and we should, just say, well, can you please explain yourself further? Why do you think this way? How do you think this works? That would change everything. Now, sometimes people would say, like my mom, if she were still living, she would say, well, I don't really know why. It's just how I think. But she does know why. Excuse me. But she does know why. And when I just say to her, when I used to say to her gently, Mom, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to accept what you say. I'm honestly interested in what you have to say. Then she was comfortable and she talked. And so that was a big change that I made. I was purposely thinking through how I wanted to have the conversation, not the debate, have the conversation, because I really wanted to get her opinion on something. It doesn't matter what it is, but it was a big ticket issue. And when she told me, it made perfect sense. I saw the issues in it, like, okay, well, we're not that society anymore. We've changed, but it didn't matter. I understood where she was coming from. And then I was able to have a more engaged conversation with her. And, that's what happens with anything within our household when we're talking about politics, which is kind of the big crucial issue here. But the other crucial issue is our kids turning transgender, huge crucial issue. It's no longer gay is the issue. It's transgender is the issue. We have to be able to have this conversation calmly, without blame, and with being open-minded. And when we can do that, well, first of all, we've learned. Isn't that great? We've learned. And then we're proud of ourselves that we didn't argue. And even happier that we didn't lose somebody in our lives. Yes, we all have a fear that if people don't agree with us, our life will be a living hell. And in some fashions, it's true. Our life will be a living hell if certain things happen and we aren't in favor of what's happening. It's a drag, and it doesn't matter. We have to be able to talk. So, okay, not a lot of us aren't good at fact checking. A lot of us are not good at history, don't like history, never studied history. Well, if you don't study history, you will repeat it. If you don't believe people when they tell you who they are, you will suffer from engaging with that person. It doesn't matter who the person is and what the context is, but it will happen. Reality is what it is. And too often we all say, oh God, I didn't think it would happen to us. Oh God, I didn't think that would happen. Oh, heavenly days, I'm so sorry. Sometimes, genie out of the bottle. But we do know how we feel. We don't maybe understand everything that goes behind the way we think, but we do know how we feel. And if we could just start engaging with each other in terms of acknowledging our feelings, I think that's a huge head start. And so this was never so clear to me as when I attended last night a mediation study group meeting with Southern California Mediation Association. We have different study groups, and so the one I go to took place last night, and it was on Zoom. I was so proud of my industry. I mean, these are really caring people. Sometimes people sound harsh. There are people that really mean to be thoughtful and sweet, and they just come off sounding harsh. But the bottom line was, I love meeting with these people because we always talk about how we can do our jobs better, how we can address communication better, how we can set up a situation in our mediations so that everybody feels heard and acknowledged and appreciated. And then we can start working with each other to maybe adjust the way we think, and in our mediations, adjust what we're asking for. But everything is about feeling heard, feeling appreciated, feeling acknowledged. We all want that, right? So let's see what we can do the rest of the day after we have a good hearty lunch. And by the way, today's lunch is brought to you by me shopping at Trader Joe's yesterday. I need to have a couple salads in the refrigerator. I just do, ready to go, because sometimes I don't have time to go out and get lunch, or I don't have leftovers from dinner the night before because I didn't go out to dinner. So anyway, this is one of my favorite salads. It's called, what is it? The crunchy slaw salad. It's really a Chinese chicken salad. And honestly, it's really super good. I love it. But anyway, for the rest of the day, how about we pay attention to what we say, how we say it, and if it looks like we're going to engage in an argument, just stop and just say, be honest. You know what? I was getting really antsy and excited and overwhelmed, and I was almost ready to argue with you, but I don't want to do that. So tell me what you're thinking. Tell me why you're late. Tell me why. Ask people to explain what their position is on something that just happened. Or if somebody says something to you that all of a sudden makes you want to fight back, calm down, take an emotional step back, take a deep breath, and just think about how to move forward without arguing. And the way to move forward without arguing is saying, look, I don't want to argue with you. I really want us to always have good discussions. Please tell me where you're coming from. Please tell me what your thoughts are. Please tell me why. And just engage them that way. And I think that's a good start. Just in little relationships we have in our lives, big relationships we have in our lives. And that'll be a step forward to the bigger conversations we have, because we should not be losing family members over politics or, over other big ticket conversations and issues. Because if we can have our own dialogues, I think on a broader level, in a bigger conversation, in a national conversation, possibly we can start being responsible for changing things on a local level, meaning a personal level, and then on a more national level. So anyway, those were my thoughts for today. That's what I've been thinking about since last night with my mediator conversation, and kind of what I wanted to share with you. And it's an extension of the first two episodes being not reacting in an angry way to external situations that cause change. Now we're going to start internally and changing ourselves in one-on-one relationship with our family and friends and coworkers. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Hopefully I'm not too out to lunch on this. Enjoy the rest of your meal.